Just a quick bit of bonus content for you right now, because Christmas is crashing down upon us again, and it brings with it the living hell of how do I get this present right? And this is particularly confusing and difficult and challenging if you're a dude buying a present for a chick, or a chick buying a present for a dude. Things may have changed recently while I haven't been keeping up, but on my world, it's really hard to accommodate the different prerequisites of present getting rightedness in each camp. So let me make it easy for you. If you are that chick buying that present for that dude, he's going to love something practical. And I want to talk to you about all of this stuff from Olight because there's a sale on right now. And I love Olight, even though I've never met anyone from Olight. I correspond with them by email, but I'm kind of in love with the product, and that matters. It really matters if you're dealing with a company that makes a product, and there's so much false endorsement happening in the media. Like, there are people who never use the product doing various reads that are just paid for, and it's nauseating. In my case, I love Olight's products. Like, I've got a hit list of the ones that I really like. I use one every day. I have it with me now because otherwise I would feel as if I were naked. It's this. It's called a Warrior Mini 2. It's the torch that goes with me everywhere, and you can probably see how scuffed it is because it lives down here with my Leatherman, and it's in a continuous battle about who's going to survive the scuffing longest. And being aluminium versus stainless steel, I did think less durability was going to be the talk of the town with this baby, but after a couple of years, boom. Bright light when you need it, and, not so bright light, tunable when you don't. When you just need a little bit of light in the handbag or something, that's fantastic. So what I'm saying is practicality really matters. And if you're a dude, you kind of rock a bespoke collection of EDC or everyday carry. I always carry my Leatherman, my Olight, my Knipex, Knipex pliers wrench, I think they call it, they're German. So these are really clever as well. They're just so useful, and they weigh nearly nothing, but punch well above their weight. And thanks very much to my young French bulldog for roughening up these grips for me while I wasn't looking. So yay, they're even French bulldog proof. So there you go. Always rock my Casio G-Shock and my girly paracord bracelet as well, because one never knows when one might need to, have 4 or 5 meters of paracord to restrain someone and extract information from them, whatever. Or if the leash for your dog breaks and you need to jury rig something up. So there's that. That's kind of what I'm talking about here. And these are my favourite Olights, okay? From now until Saturday, there is a sale, and the savings are usually quite substantial, in the region of 30 to 45% with Olight sales. They're quite genuine on the sale front. So I thought I'd run by you. If you're that chick looking for that super practical gift for that special dude, then don't get him cologne or socks or freaking undies or moisturiser. Get him something that he's gonna love. And who doesn't love a waterproof zombie slaying torch? Now, I do love my Mini 2, but it has been superseded with Mini 3, which has just some superior features. It's slightly smaller, packs the same punch, has a better side switch, still has the tactical tail switch that just out of the pocket, boom, there it is. Need light in a hurry, you've got it, okay? 2-stage too, so it's like a bit bright and then supernova, and very tactile. You can tell the difference. The switch on the rear has been upgraded so that it's less susceptible to collecting ferromagnetic dust. And Olights generally have this really clever charging system as well, which is USB based. So anything with a USB hole in it that supplies power at this end, there's your power source, like the car, for example, and you want to charge up your torch, which you don't have to do very often. Boom. Politician could do that, and most Olights rock this way. Now, I guess if there were a zombie apocalypse, I'd probably upgrade to the Warrior, what do they call it, 3S, I think. Warrior 3S, right, it's just a bit bigger. It's still kind of pocket friendly, but I'm not sure you'd want to go for a run carrying one in your light sort of jogging shorts. I'd rather be rocking this baby for any of that sort of active stuff, whereas if you're wearing jeans, then happy days. And you get more light, and it's just a bit more robust. It's got the same switch on the side for the lighter, more tunable versions of light that you need now, and it's got the big two-stage tactical switch on the back as well. So that's the Warrior 3S. And you know, if you knew there was going to be a zombie apocalypse, don't leave home without it. These things are awesome. Most Olights are waterproof. They're IPX8 generally, which means very hard to drown, and if they're sealed like that, they're not going to be amenable to damage from dust either. And you can run over them with the car and drop them from 2 meters up a ladder, and just the slings and arrows of the stuff that dudes do in their sheds, out in the field, whatever. These stand up to that very well. They're beautifully manufactured from the point of view of, you know, O-ring sealing, and they've got rechargeable lithium-ion batteries in them, and you know, they're just a really good product that lasts a long time and is super reliable, which is what you need if you're in the field and you need light now, right? So if you're in your shed, they make this whole family of things called the Swivel. All of these are in the genre of the Swivel. This is just called a swivel because, you know, it swivels. They got this carabiner thing so you can hook it up on the open bonnet of your car if you need to look at the engine bay in the middle of the freaking night. They're kind of magnetic, so you can stick a swivel to whatever, the fender of your car, with a bit of light coming out of it to change the wheel in the middle of the night in the boonies if you've got a flat. The two smaller ones, this is called the Swivel Pro and this is the Swivel Pro Max, but the Swivel and the Swivel Pro both have a they've got a torch on one end, and if you kind of press and hold a button, you get an LED work light, and the work light is dimmable. It has a variety of different brightness settings. So this is really good in a power failure. You know, you got to figure something out. You can get some broad kind of work light happening. And it's also really good under the house or like working on the car in the middle of the night when something goes wrong. These things are fantastic. They're not that expensive either. Like on sale, the basic swivel is like under $40, which is just tremendous value to me when you think about the versatility and how much deep shit it can help you dig yourself out of in the middle of nowhere when you need light and something goes wrong. So you can check them out as well. They're freaking awesome. And if you've got a dude in your life who is that boating, off-roading, camping dude, like he doesn't really care how heavy the thing is because he's not carrying it in a pocket or on his back in a backpack or something of that nature, this thing, which is called the Marauder Mini, is absolutely awesome for that outdoor adventuring. It's got a really clever switch which you have to rotate a little bit, not as much as I'm doing now. You have to rotate it a little bit before you press it and turn it on, and the purpose for that is to prevent it accidentally activating itself, which is quite clever. And then it's got two different modes. We're in floodlight mode now, and if you flick the toggle switch, you're in spotlight mode, and it's dimmable, like you can get it really bright or dim it right down as well and toggle between really soft sort of floodlight and really bright sort of spotlight, which is just sensational. Like if you're out in the boat and it gets late and you've got to figure out where the wharf is and you're way out on the road to Dingo Piss Creek or something, functionality like this is absolutely handy. And back at camp, who doesn't need a bit of a floodlight from time to time? And you can tune it so that it doesn't damage your night vision. It vibrates at you. You can probably hear this, telling you that it's way down or telling you that it's way up. It's also vibrating in my hand when I do that. So you get audible and tactile, like haptic feedback from doing it that way. So, you know, Marauder Mini is a really good, like, it's almost a lifetime purchase. They last a hell of a long time, super useful, and once again, even a big torch like this in the car, on charge, never going to be flat. So that's kind of very smart. By the way, with these swivel things, the bigger one loses the torch function in the end, but it also double times as a power bank. So if your phone goes flat, there's your backup battery. And to me, why would you carry a power bank when you can also have a work light and a power bank, you know? Okay, so they're essentially my favourites. There's some specials on from Olight as well. So where do we start with them? We'll just put all of my EDC fantasy to one side. We've got a really exciting new torch called the Arc Flex here. And previously, there's been an Arc Feld. We'll get to that in a minute. So it's kind of like this, but you can flex the head one way or the other, this way. And then it turns it into a 90-degree flashlight, which if you're walking somewhere, if you want to take a torch walking, so much easier to carry a torch for a significant length of time, 45 minutes or an hour or something, down some bush track in the dark. Much easier to carry like that than it is to carry a torch like this, because you don't have to flex your wrist as much, you know. It's just more ergonomic to rock it this way than that way for a long period of time. So that's kind of really clever, and you get, you know, multiple brightness levels as well. And you're thinking, well, that's a bit narrow, does it fit the magnetic thing? And yeah, dude, absolutely it does. So there's your charge up solution as well, which is universal and convenient, especially if you own a few. You can have a charger in the car and a charger in your office and charger in your shed, and all you need is a USB outlet and one of those cables. So if you've got 3 Olights, you can basically have them anywhere and always have them on the charger. So that's lovely. They've got this thing called the Arc Feld Pro as well here, which is it's a UV and a torch. And if I can get it turned on by actually selecting torch mode and turning it on, there we go. Even a politician could do it, but not some dude talking to a camera in his shed. So there's a switch here. You can go from torch mode to UV mode. Now, I don't know how useful UV mode will be for you, but, you know, it makes white paper fluoresce like that. It makes anything white fluoresce like that. You can find scorpions with it and some other insects or arachnids, whatever. Maybe you can find them in the dark, or maybe you just want to play CSI technician in a seedy motel and see how much of whatever that is left over from the residue of previous guests you can get to fluoresce before deciding whether or not to sleep there. So there's that. For me, I think the other thing it's got is a laser pointer. So if you're a vitally important sales rep and you want to just kick ass on that PowerPoint presentation, there's your laser pointer option as well. And I think this laser pointer is legal, by the way. It's quite low powered, so unlikely to take any planes out anytime soon. Check the regulations in your area. I'm not an expert at that. What have we got now? We've got the Seeker 4. Seeker 4 is a really good outdoor adventuring torch as well. Got a new switch. That's really nice. That metal switch is lovely. 4 different brightness levels that are really quickly accessible. And, you know, if you want to do anything outdoors, the brightness levels are really important, especially a really dim setting, because the worst thing of all time is to have your night vision up and running and then need to find something in a bag, and you turn your torch on and it's like supernova in your bag, and all you can see for the next 10 minutes is green and purple splotches out here when you're trying to function in the field at night, and there's like no ambient light, not even any moonlight. So it's a great way to avoid that night blindness thing, having a really dim setting. So that's Seeker 4. I'll have links to all of these in the description. There's a little utility knife that's quite useful as well. And Olight does a bunch of knives. There's all kinds of different designs, and they're like good materials, good workmanship, and affordable pricing. So with knives, it's almost sacrilege, you know, to do something that the purists would shake their head at, right? With a Benchmade folder that costs you $500. Like, you're not going to saw through, I don't know, a tin of whatever, not going to open a tin with a Benchmade folder, because that's just sacrilegious to do something with a knife that just costs so much. Whereas with an O knife, like, yeah, no problem. If you really need to, if the chips are down and it's in your go bag and you need a knife to open a tin because you haven't had anything to eat for 2 days because something went wrong in the bush, and you found a tin of tomatoes just lying there, fell off the back of a truck literally or something, then you're not going to have any qualms about getting through it with an affordable knife like that. And I kind of like these knives that Olight make. I've got one up here, just stand by. I just use this kind of thing all the time to do whatever you need to do in your shed when you're working around the joint. It's just nice to have a really high quality knife like that that is not worth about $4 billion. So if you need to cut through an aluminium can to just get at the aluminium to make a shim for something, then yeah, absolutely. And, just sharpen it up later. Like, who cares? Because it's not a mega buck investment and it's not sacrilege. And that is the beauty of knives like this. Anyway, this thing is called an O-Tackle K1, and it's great for your toolbox because at the end of the day, it's just a utility knife. Like, it fits those utility blades. So, you cut whatever up, and then when the blade is cactus, you just reach into the top of your big stack of blades in your cardboard box of blades and just put another one in and go again. So you never have to worry about it being blunt, and you never have to worry about damaging the blade. And obviously, if there is a zombie apocalypse, it's of limited usefulness in the dispatching of the undead department. But as prepared as I've ever tried to be for that, it never actually has happened. So little utility knife like this that's actually quite ergonomic and nice to use. You can deploy it with one hand. It may be illegal in Queensland, but even though, like, come on, dude. It's not the same as walking down the street with a machete, is it, anyway? You've got to have a reasonable excuse to have any kind of bladed implement in Australia, and I'd suggest that if you're doing some work in a tool and you've got a tool bag and this is in it, then that is a reasonable excuse, hashtag not a lawyer. So the final thing I want to talk to you about now is this baby, which is called an O-Lantern Music, and it's a few different things which are all kind of interesting. It's this two-stage light. Well, it's steppable, dimmable, but it goes from warm to cool. So if you're around the campsite and you want to do a bit of cooking and you want a nice sort of cool light to do that, then yay. And then when you finish eating, whatever, preparing the food, you can dim it back down and you get that much warmer sort of yellow, more sort of 2,500 K light, and you can dim that right down in your tent or something, but still bright enough for the zombies to see it and know exactly where to hone in, at 3 a.m. when they typically attack. So there's that. It's also it's called the O-Lantern Music because obviously it's a Bluetooth speaker. So you just connect your phone, pump out the fat beats and annoy everyone else camping nearby during the festive season, which is always kind of lovely. And it's also a battery bank. So if your phone starts to off a cliff because, it's more than 6 months old or something, then you can top it back up and keep the fat beats pumping to the subject to the limit of the endurance of both of those batteries, the phone and the O-Lantern Music. Anyway, Olights make great gifts. Like, the packaging is really slick and some of the design aspects are very slick indeed. Like, the magnet thing is just such an elegant piece of design because every time it just locates itself and you are charging. You don't have to worry about which way it goes in and, all of that stuff. It's nice to use. The packaging's slick, which means it's going to look like you spent more than you did. And the actual product at the end of the day, and this is the thing that is not so important to at least the women that I've ever bought important presents for, because, you buy some premium handbag and they go, oh, that's fantastic, just what I wanted. And I go, yeah, because you told me that's what you wanted and I got it. And I'm not seeing the value because you couldn't even fit a freaking SIG P365 into that with a spare magazine and a Warrior Mini 3. And we paid what for it? Anyway, but it's a status symbol. I've come to learn that the premium handbag is a status symbol. So even if it's only big enough to hold a freaking credit card, somehow it enhances you as you slide down the street. Go figure. With a man, it's not like that. You've got to have something that actually works, and it's got to work well, and these babies work well, and he will love it. So there's that. The discounts are significant between now and Saturday. I'll have links in the description to all of this stuff. Just knock yourself out and get the present on target, which is, at the end of the day, that's all that matters.